We're here to share the story of a world that's full of light.
And you know what happens to such a child? That child grows up believing they are worthless because they are not getting any assurance from their parent. They grow up empty, lonely, depressed, with a scar they don't even understand. And that's happening every day in Nigeria. I've seen it. I've lived it. A child will be told, "Shut up, don't cry. Are you the only child?" And parents expected such a child to go out into the world and be strong. Their parent will say, "Shut up. I will give you something to cry about now." If a child wants to talk, Nigerian parent will say, "Go and read your book." You don't talk to your parent. You don't talk to others. That's not parenting. That's emotional starvation. And these are the same parents that will grow old and complain, "My child is not calling me anymore." It is because you didn't raise a child. You raised an emotionally numb adult. We treat emotional neglect like it's normal. It's okay to ignore a child's feeling just because they are supposed to be strong. You see, you can't raise a child with bricks and cement alone. I know it's good to raise a child to be strong, but they need love. They need support. Emotional neglect destroys the spirit of the child. Even if the child never says a word about it, when there is no one to listen, no one to comfort them, that is pure neglect. And it's killing us. And then we have educational neglect. Now, this one get me hot. There are so many parents who say, "I can't afford school fees in Nigeria," or "I don't have money for books." But there are other forms of educational neglect that are more dangerous. And those forms are hiding in plain sight. The child is kept out of school to work. Heavenly good. I'm talking about those little children you see on the street selling pure water and working in shops. My dear, that is educational neglect. But even worse is when a child is sent to school and they get no support at home. No homework help. No encouragement to learn. No one to even ask what they learned. That's neglect. And we treat it like it's normal. You see how we do it here in our house. And when me or your mommy pick you, we started asking you, "What happened in the school today? Did you have argument with anybody? How is the study like? What did you learn in the school? Did you pay attention in the class? Did you get all your mark in whatever you do? Did you play with your friends? Did you make new friends? Are the kids good to you?" You know how we ask, you know. And when you get home, you guys started bombarding us with everything that happened, to the extent that sometimes I'll be like, "Please, these children, leave me alone. I'm tired." That is how it should be. But when a child is not getting that, heavenly good, that is neglect. And we treat it like it's normal in Nigeria. I see children who go to school just to come home and sit in silence with no one to help them learn. No one to even care if they are passing or failing in the school. And we wonder why our children are dropping out, failing and losing hope. When we don't prioritize education, we neglect the child's future. And that's what's happening every day in Nigeria. And the worst part, we normalize it. We laugh and say, "Oh, that child is street smart. School is not for everyone." But the child is silently dying inside. You see, watching their future fade because their parents don't believe in them. So when people talk about neglect, we need to understand that it is not just what we can see. It's what we ignore. It's what we choose not to address. And the emotional and educational neglect is so much more dangerous than physical neglect because it is silent. It hides in plain sight and damages children in ways we don't even see until they are grown up and completely broken. So yes, my daughter, I agree with you 100%. Too many Nigerian children are suffering silently. Emotional and educational neglect are everywhere in Nigeria, but nobody talks about it because it doesn't leave bruises where they can see it. It doesn't bleed It doesn't scream, but it scars the soul of that child forever. And when those children grow up cold, broken, or bitter, we blame the devil. We blame village people or even the West. But the real culprit is neglect that we never called out. That is why we are talking. That is why we created www.theonaolapo.org. That is why this podcast is not just a conversation. It is a rescue mission, Heavenly God. You are doing a big job, a good job. You are rescuing life because so many people will watch this and turn from bad to good. So give yourself a big round of applause, my daughter.
Should parents be jailed for child neglect in Nigeria? Because I know you always say we should focus on the solutions, not just the punishments. So, Dad, what's your own personal opinion? Should parents be jailed? Or is there a better way to help both parents and children?
This is the elephant in the room. Should Nigerian parents be jailed for child neglect? Yes, because some situations demand punishment. And I will say no again. In some cases, it's better to educate and support families. Heavenly God, some parents deserve jail time. Let's not deceive ourselves. Some people are not poor. They are just wicked. Some are well off but still refuse to send their children to proper school. Some beat their children into disability. Some abandon their kids emotionally and physically while they chase alcohol and parties or religion. Are you telling me we should educate such parents? No! They should face the law. Because if you don't make an example of them, more children will suffer. Yes. I grew up watching children die slowly. Not from hunger, but from being unseen, unloved, unwanted. And those parents, they were never punished. You'll be surprised. Society will even praise them. She raised 5 children alone. She's very, very strong. But her children were broken, angry, and damaged. Some of them ended up in prison, prostitution, or even suicide. What kind of parenthood is that? Now, see, I understand this too. We can't just throw every poor parent in jail because they couldn't feed their children. No, we can't do that. Because the truth is that poverty is real. Nigerian system is broken. There's no social support, no health care, no help for struggling families in Nigeria. So, if you decided to jail every parent in Lagos slum, the uneducated poor in Ogun State, the farmer in Kano, and that market woman in Anambra for neglect, heavenly God, the whole country will be empty. That's the reality. So yes, we must create support system, counseling, parenting education, and most importantly, financial help and therapy, especially for those who are victims of poverty, abuse, and neglect themselves. So maybe the real answer is this. We need a case-by-case approach. Don't jail a mother who has nothing. Support her. But jail the one who chooses to neglect a child out of wickedness, selfishness, or ignorance that she refuses to correct. Because, heavenly God, the truth is that until Nigerian parents know that there are consequences for neglect, they will keep treating their children like property to use, control, or abandon at will. And let's not pretend. Part of the reason this is even a debate or a question is because we don't value children in Nigeria. That's it. That's the bitter truth. If we did, we would have child protection laws that work. We would arrest and jail people for marrying off 12 years old. We will punish parents for beating a child into silence, into coma. But no, in Nigeria, we romanticize suffering. We normalize neglect, and that's why millions of children are being emotionally slaughtered in homes with no consequences. So, heavenly God, to answer your question, yes, some parents should go to jail. Others should be helped. But either way, we must protect the child first. Because if we keep excusing bad parenting, we will keep raising broken children who grow up to repeat the same cycle. Keep doing it to their own children. They will be so mean to their own partner because they are broken.
So, Dad, what do you think is the most powerful solution for stopping child neglect in Africa, particularly Nigeria? And what can we do right now as a family and organization to raise awareness and protect children better?
My daughter, that question right there, the most powerful solution, is the question every African parent, government official, pastor, imam, teacher, and NGO must answer if we truly want to protect children. I've seen children beaten until they lost hearing. I've seen little girls abandoned because their mother left and the father moved on too. I've seen a child starved in plain sight because his stepmother didn't like him. These things happened on my streets in Ebutemeta, Lagos State, Nigeria. And they are still happening every day. Heavenly God. So what is the solution? It is not one thing. It is a full revolution of the mind, the system, and the culture. We must start by re-educating African parents, Nigerian parents, because many of them are raising children with the same mindset they inherited from their own parents. One that believes children should be seen but not heard. One that thinks suffering is a rite of passage. They beat their kids and quote the Bible, spare the rod and spoil the child. But they conveniently skip the part where the Bible says, anyone who doesn't provide for his family is worse than an infidel. You can find it in 1 Timothy 5:8. Or the verse that says, parents, do not provoke your children to anger. That can be found in Ephesians 6:4. Let me ask, why do we only remember the verses that allow us to beat our children, but forget the ones that tell us to love, care, and nurture them? That is also spiritual abuse. And it's also child neglect wrapped in religion. Nigeria has laws. We have the Child Right Act. But what we don't have is enforcement. See, until a father is jailed for abandoning his own child after a divorce, till a mother is arrested for starving her daughter out of jealousy, till a pastor is sued for counseling a parent to discipline other while a child bleeds, nothing will change. Because talk without consequences is just noise, empty noise. We must also fight the culture that praises toxic parenting in Nigeria. You see parents in Nigeria say, my parent beat me and I turned out fine. Really? You are angry, broken, emotionally unavailable, and terrified of failure. That's what we call fine. Heavenly God, we need a revolution of parenting. One where parents are taught how to listen, protect, and provide. Not just to pay school fee and quote fear-based scriptures. As a family, you, me, your mom, our whole team, we must become the voice for the voiceless through our podcast, our video, our website, our community outreach. We must raise awareness in a way that hurts the ears of abusers and comfort the heart of children. We must go to the streets, school, churches, mosque, the slums, and TV station and say it loud with a big shout. Neglect is abuse. Emotional damage is real, and every child matters. So we will keep creating content. We will go to courtrooms. We will challenge pastors and politicians. And most importantly, we will model what parenting should look like. Because sometimes, Heavenly God, the most powerful protest is a living example of what love, protection, and guidance really mean. Yes, we model that in our own family. Let me quickly say this to every adult watching this. You see, your child is not your property. They are your responsibility. And if you destroy them with your tongue, your hands, your silence, you are not a parent. You are an oppressor. And one day, you will answer to the law, to the society, And if those two did not work, you will answer to God. That is it. So, Heavenly God, the talk must continue. The campaign must continue. The noise must continue. And we will not only do that, we will stretch forth our hand to the children that need our help. We will provide the little we can, and we will take their case to the rest of the world to help them also. Thank you for a wonderful episode today. You've been a great inspiration. I love what you are doing. I'm happy. You're giving me joy every day. Thank you, my daughter, once again. God bless you.
This conversation today has left me with so many emotions, sadness, anger, but also hope. Because I now understand that neglect doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers and people ignore it, joke about it. Parents say things like, "That's how I was raised. Children must obey." While ignoring the trauma, the abandonment, the fears so many children are carrying quietly. They quote the Bible to justify Cain and control, but they skip the verses that call neglect a sin and remind parents not to provoke their children with anger. We talked about a lot today. Laws, culture, the Bible, poverty, pain. But the truth is, until we value children more than we protect toxic traditions, the cycle will continue. Until we stop excusing pain in the name of parenting, our silence will keep burying futures. To everyone watching this, whether you're a parent, a teacher, a leader, pastor, imam, or just a human being, children are not your property. They are people, and they deserve dignity, safety, and love. As a young African girl and a voice for children everywhere, I want to say this clearly. If we don't fight for children now, we are building a future full of broken adults. Let me leave you with a quote by Frederick Douglass, an African-American abolitionist who fought against slavery and injustice. He said, "It is easier to build stronger children than to repair broken men." That's why this show exists. That's why I speak. That's why we won't be silent, because the repair costs too much and our children deserve better. I am Heavenly God Onaolapo Onaolapo, and with my dad, we'll keep using our voices to fight for every child until protection becomes a norm, not a privilege. See you next time at the Onaolapo Show, the world through our eyes.
Bye.